Welcome back, Sleep Detectives, or as Beck loves to call you all, her Sleepy D's. Hi, Beck. Hi, Sleepy
back,
D.
everyone. Welcome to 2026.
Sleepy
How
bee.
exciting. Sleepy bee.
You're a Sleepy Bee.
Sleepy bee.
For anyone that is new to
You're
the
a snoozy
podcast...
D.
I'm a snoozy, yes. Snoozy D, that is me, the snoozosaurus. Anyone new to the podcast, hello, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here. This is our second episode that we do each week where we answer your real life baby sleep questions. We just take them at face value. We like to use our imagination of what might be happening in between. And although we say we're going to do it quickly, it usually turns into a full-blown consult per question half the time. But it's one of our most favourite things to do is to answer these questions. And Beck, you and I both have questions ready to go. Do you want to start?
Oh, sure. I was super organised this week. I already asked these ones. I'm usually on the back foot. Okay, so question number one is if your kids stayed in a too long nap schedule until transition to one nap, how did you do it? And face value for me,
like a long, like a medium nap. Is that what they mean by a too long nap schedule?
Well, actually, when I'm rereading this, I'm sort of thinking, how did you do the 2 nap schedule? If you wanted to continue doing two long ones, how did you do it?
If you could see the cogs whirring. What were you saying that you've been prepared this week, Beck?
I know. Okay, so if your kids stayed in a too long nap schedule until transition to 1 nap, how did you do it? I have answered this mum in my in the question boxes already, and the face value I took from it was, how do you transition to 1 nap if your child is still on 2 long naps?
Yes, that's how I heard it.
Oh, you did hear it like that? The struggle that I had before was that I actually started reading it differently. And my answer to that is, if you're on a 2 nap and schedule and you're wanting to move to 1 nap, I would actually still begin with transitioning to the short long first, rather than going gung-ho into a 1 nap schedule, typically, because if you're on a long nap schedule at, say, 13, 14, 15 months, typically that second nap is going to be starting probably around 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe even slightly later if you've got a long first nap. So when we're dropping a nap to get to a 1 nap schedule, you're going to have to work really hard with your wake times, because there's 2 ways of looking at dropping to 1 nap when you're on a long, is that you either drop the first nap entirely, like you drop the first nap and then you are bringing the second nap around. So in my mind, that's what's happening. Like you're cutting the first nap out and you're bringing the second nap all the way around to the middle of the day. The other way of looking at it, though, is that you're pushing the first nap out later and then you're dropping the second nap. So I guess it's just a way of looking at how you're manipulating the day. But to me, you're still going to end up with a really long wake window that your child isn't used to. So even if you pushed out nap 1 to 11:30, it just means that second half of the day is really long for your little one. They're not used to being awake for such long periods of time. So I guess that's my way of interpreting it. And so in order for it to sort of be a little bit smoother and seamless, I would cap nap 1 at 30 minutes, even if it's just for a short week or so, just to sort of start bridging that sleep pressure build to a much longer wake window that can be accommodated more easily.
Yeah, I think it's the whole reason why we recommend moving at some point between 12 and 14 months to the transitional schedule, is that so that you wean into a smooth nap drop. If we go with a long, and full transparency, that's what both of mine did. I just sort of, one got dropped and then I bought it earlier and We were home and hosed, but I didn't have sleep issues. And that's always the caveat. And I also had the tools of, if I had an overnight waking, I wasn't going to bring back a feed. I wasn't going to do anything but remain consistent and know that this too shall pass, even though I hate that saying. But it is to gear you and your baby up for this smooth transition. And yes, it does involve capping the nap, that first nap, which can feel, never wake a sleeping baby. But when you get to 15, 16, 17 months and you actually do make the nap drop, that's when it will all really start to make sense, rather than you having to stretch a baby's wake windows or be more reactive based on nap 2 being impacted or refused. Because when nap 2 gets impacted or refused because nap 1's been so long, your hands are tied. You're going to be left with a monster afternoon, even if you do an early bed. So we want to take that factor out for you, and that's where we would move to a short long in this scenario.
It also gives you that really clear indication if your toddler is ready to drop to the 1 nap, because if they're still taking a 30-minute nap in the morning, easily, like totally readily, easily, no ifs or buts, they're just happily going down and they're taking a nice second sleep, then it highlights that they still need both naps.
Yes.
And so by moving to the transition schedule, it provides that opportunity for your toddler to give you those clear indications that they are actually needing a little bit more awake time in the morning to build the sleep pressure that they need to want to fall asleep. So that's how nap 1 becomes a little harder and harder to achieve. And so that's that smooth transition to 1 nap that we're looking for.
Because if you think about it, one of the common questions we get asked is, when do I move my baby to 1 nap? And my general answer is somewhere between 15 and 18 months. There is that's actually a big time frame. If you've got a baby that wants to hold on to that until 18 months, you're living a very different life to someone who's making the transition at 15. There is no precise, yes, at 16.35 months, we're going to drop the nap. You need a schedule or a system that allows you to wait and see when your baby is ready to make the nap drop appropriately, somewhere between that stage. Because your baby does play a huge role in this, in all things sleep, even though, we're on the schedule and we're on the resettling and we're on the feeds, but there are green lights that we are looking for, and every baby is different in that regard.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay. What can I do if my toddler wakes up because of the birds? I already use white noise.
I had a lovely family that I was working with not long ago, and I just died laughing. And I don't know if I've told this story because I've got bird stories of my own. But,
you do. You
I
have
do.
a few bird stories.
But this was the first time that I had heard from a family like that. Is it curlews? The curlews
yes,
are
they
very,
were so
very
loud.
problematic.
Yeah. I was just in Palm Cove in Queensland, and I was up thinking about all of our Queensland listeners, thinking, these birds are a real thing.
They
were curlews.
Yeah, and so I actually think that this family that I was working with, they were in far north Queensland. Anyway, she was saying one time that their little one was finally sleeping through. I think it was like a really quick feed at 4 o'clock. It was on its way out, and then a night came around, and baby was still asleep at 4:30, and she was like, "This is the night. Like we're going to have to sleep through." And then the curlews started, and then she had already been up with the toddler, and it was just a schmozzle of a night not from the baby, but the toddler was up and down. And she said that she ran out of the house and was in her underwear throwing rocks at the curlews. And I just died laughing because I was like, it's just, you've got rage. Like there is this maternal rage sometimes where you're like, I don't know where to put it.
Absolutely.
The curlew's got it.
I feel like we've got a little blacklist of bird breeds already, because you've got beef with the crows.
The crows.
The swearing crows. If anyone hasn't listened to our early rising episodes, you can hear Beck regale about the the profanities that the
the
crows.
That's right. Yeah.
And now we've got the curlews.
We've got the curlews, but it's
Yep.
I mean, white noise for the win, brown noise for the win. I don't really know. There is really almost, and there's kookaburras will go off as well, and it's hard. I think you just got to have a really decent system in place.
I think you've got to have a
To block
really
it out.
distant white noise, and I think you just have to remain consistent as well, so that even the curlews become a bit of the background. We can't make that stop, but we don't have to react any differently to 11 p.m. Even though it may feel trickier. Sometimes I also do white noise in the room and then in the hallway,
Yes.
although that's not really maybe isn't that helpful for the curlews outside the window, but it's just that additional buffer, and it's not in the room, so it's not extra noise in the baby's ears. It's just, we just sort of have this ambience buffer throughout the whole house. Particularly useful also if, forget the birds, you've just got the toddler, like in that scenario, and you're up and down, that adds a little extra buffer from domestic sounds too.
It's the same as if your partner goes to work every morning at 5 o'clock. You know, there's literally nothing we can stop. Like, don't go to work. That's part of life. But they get up, they go to work, the garage door opens. There's absolutely nothing we can do to stop all of that happening. But we do have to have that consistency. Actually, one of the things that I do love changing. So, for example, if you have got like a, let's just say a glow dreaming or some sort of device that you're using for your brown noise or white noise effect, it actually can be sometimes a little bit more helpful to use a pedestal fan or a box fan in baby's bedroom, and it provides a little bit more sound, like a little bit more. And so what I would do with a box fan or pedestal fan would be to turn it so it's facing a wall, so not facing your baby, but facing a wall, and have it on high so that the noise reverberates around the room, and it can give a little bit more of that can sort of sometimes be a little bit more beneficial or work a little bit more better. Obviously better in the summer. Far North Queensland, though, it's always warm. So.
Oh, it's always, yes. All right, I'll do one more and then I'll hand it over to you. When is the best time to bring bedtime earlier for a newish baby? 7 weeks, currently 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. First of all, congratulations.
Yeah, beautiful.
We don't get many newborn questions, and I'm always delighted when we get to answer some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much type A, so I start to sort of work on. It's been a long time since I've had a newborn, but I absolutely, if I could have a newborn in my household all the time, like I would. And I think I've always said this, that I don't know if I've actually said it out loud on the podcast, but if I could have a baby every year and then gift the baby like at 12 months.
Like when you can have a guide dog puppy for the first 12 months and socialise them and do basic training, and then you hand them off to give them back. That's what you'd like to do.
That's me. Yeah, absolutely.
Does that include the pregnancy and giving birth?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe not so much now that I'm old and decrepit, but I think that definitely back in the day, I definitely wanted to do that. But
that's very sweet.
Yeah, but it's newborns they're just so amazing, and the type A personality in me tends to sort of thrive on the whole idea that I am working towards something, and that is that at the beginning, at this particular age, you can, like, even though you're not sleep training, you are working on creating really clear sleep predictable patterns, like a really great sequencing. And so that's where you start with trying to wake baby at roughly the same time each day and end the day at roughly the same time each day. So I personally would be trying to structure my day. I mean, you can do it any time. 8 till 10 o'clock at this age isn't crazy town at all.
No, not far-fetched at all.
Not at all. But if you were thinking about sort of moving it earlier, then starting to sort of knuckle in on wake windows through the day, but starting your day at roughly around, close to 7 as you can, so that then you can sort of work towards a final time frame of around 7 o'clock. Yeah. And that starts to sort of hone in on, well, your wake windows are roughly around the same time, each day, and naps will start to sort of fall into place a little bit more easily. That would be my tip.
This was definitely the age, I did it at 6 weeks actually with both babies, where I set an alarm to get up every morning
Yeah.
with them and started their feed at 7 a.m. Even if I just got them back to sleep at, 5:50, we were going to get up at 7 because I craved, speaking of type A, I craved that structure and rhythm and routine at that stage, but I also I knew that sleep pressure builds from then.
Yeah.
For bedtime, even though there are naps and it may be a bit messy each day still at this age, that's totally fine. But I knew I needed to, like you, work towards getting this consistent bedtime, feed, play, sleep, the whole thing. And that always starts for me with blinds open, a big feed, good morning, beautiful baby, hello 7 a.m.
I think there's a lot to be said about personality types for mums and how we can all be completely different and it's all fine. It's like whatever floats your boat. But I had to have routine in my life because I just needed to know what I was doing next. I'm not the type of person that can just fly by the seat of my pants. Like, I don't get enjoyment from that.
Okay.
If I'm waiting for something, I'm really agitated if I don't know what's coming up next. Like, I'm just not a happy camper. And so, the age-old advice of, sleep when the baby sleeps and, just everything will settle down. Like, for me, that advice was not helpful whatsoever. No. I really needed to be kind of taking charge of what I could control. And obviously I couldn't control how long my baby was sleeping for, but 100% I could control when I started the day and I could work on my feeds. And there was a game plan involved in terms of, okay, well, if that nap didn't go to plan, like, I'll know my wake window is this, so I'm going to aim. So there was always some thought behind the day and moving towards what I could influence was always helpful to me.
I'm exactly the same. And also knowing that usually the first part of the day usually consolidates first. Even for older babies, nap 1 is the easier one, that first wake window. So I knew that it almost felt like I had a sense of control when there were so many things out of my control during postpartum that I thought, well, at least until 11 a.m., I know what to do and when I can have a shower and when I'm going to feed. And I can even visually remember my little ritual of when I would open the blinds in the living room and how much I loved that moment of routine of like, this is what I do every morning. And that started because I woke up at the same time each morning. And then it also gave me that even if the night before was chaos or tricky or hard or a random off night, I would always just put a line through it and we would start again at 7 a.m. And knowing that I didn't have to think about it anymore, I just moved forward.
Yeah, I think we're the same person.
Surprise, 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 surprise.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
You do the pregnancy and then I'll live with you to have the baby at home. Okay?
Okay.
Because I don't like being pregnant.
That's a great trade.
All right. And then we'll hand them off if anyone wants a baby.
We'll take orders.
They'll come sleep trained. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We'll even throw in a nap trapped cap.
Yeah. And a miracle blanket. Oh, you won't need the miracle blanket because we would have transitioned.
No, we will have done that. Yeah. We'll have done all of that. Here's one we
give me the next stage nappies.
Oh, yeah. I draw the line at toilet training. Quick pause. If you're finding this helpful, make sure you're subscribed to Nap Trapped. New episodes drop every week and we cover everything from sleep regressions to daycare naps to night weaning. Head to naptrappedpodcast.com to subscribe and grab our free sleep resources while you're there. You'll also find our full episode library so you can search by your baby's age or the specific issue you're dealing with.
A 17-month-old nap, 12:30 to 2:30. Bedtime is 7 p.m. but cries and whinges for 20 minutes before passing out. Your thoughts?
I want to know if there's any overnight wakings. If there's not any overnight wakings and there's not any early rising, the I think we could move 2:30. I got to always count on my fingers. That's a 4.5 hour wake window. We could probably go to 4 hours, just in case the 20 minutes is a little bit of overtiredness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I also think that just because how did they describe the 20 minutes? What were the words again? Sorry.
The words were, let me get this back up. Cries / whinges.
See, whinging wouldn't bother me too much. As in, whinging to me sounds low grade.
Yeah.
And in which case, maybe this is a new nap transition and sleep pressure's sort of recalibrating, and 20 minutes isn't far-fetched. I understand it's different from, they just pop themselves into bed and 5 minutes later they're fast asleep. That's my thoughts, and those would be my follow-up questions.
Yeah, mine were exactly the same. So I just wanted to know if there was overnight wakings, then I would be pulling the bedtime back to 4 hours. And so it would be, we would have a 6:30 bedtime if the nap was finishing at 2:30. So that's technically where we would sort of sit in terms of a wake window at that age. But if there was no wakings overnight, I'm kind of okay with, 10 to 15 minutes is pretty normal. Like that's almost actually what we want in terms of like from jumping into bed and then heading off to sleep. 20 minutes at 17 months with a slightly longer wake window for me, if they're sleeping through the night, is still totally fine. It's the intensity. If the intensity is worrying you, then make the wake window shorter. If it's fine and it's mostly low grade for that time period and nothing else was happening overnight, I think kind of just rock it. And I guess it's different for everyone. The interpretation of fussing and crying and so forth and whinging is different for everybody, and for some it's really frustrating and anxiety riddled, whereas we've been doing this
you
for a
and I
long
have
time.
a pretty high threshold.
Yeah, that's right.
And not in terms of coldness of like, that baby can just cry for 20 minutes. Not in that regard. Just in terms of what is normal on the spectrum of fussing, whinging, as part of the process of falling asleep within a reasonable time frame with no other sleep issues. If this was full-blown 10 out of 10 escalation for 20 minutes and then you heard from them every 2 to 3 hours overnight and they were standing up in their cot at 5:15 saying, I'm up, different scenario completely. Yeah. But I also think now having had 2 children, there were some times where baby number 2 had to fuss a little bit because I might have had a toddler on the toilet or needing something or a different scenario. And so that's also where my threshold is that, okay, I can't be everywhere for everyone. If it's 20 minutes of low grade fussing and then you fall asleep and sleep 12 hours, and I know temperament wise you might be a bit of a signaler, and I tried my best to put you to bed early but you're a second child and it just didn't happen, so I know you're overtired but you're working through it. Like there's context, and that's what I would be looking for. That's why it wouldn't faze me. Yep,
you've nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Because there is that thing of like, if you are waiting, if we addressed this before and we'll go over it time and time again, but if we're sitting and waiting and watching a monitor, you're watching a show. Like that's a long time to watch a show, but if you're in the kitchen and you're doing the dishes or getting the spaghetti on for your bolognese or whatever it might be, and you're distracted and so forth, you might sort of like hear, but you're not really sitting there waiting, invested in the show. You're kind of like going about your thing. Each to their own, like totally fine. Like it's different, but for us, we're feeling like if everything else is totally fine overnight, you're okay. All good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Can I work on sleep routines when my 6-month-old milk feeds are a struggle? My first question would be, it's a yes and. I want to know, is there a root cause of why baby is struggling with milk feeds? Feeding and sleep go hand in hand. We can create the best schedule in terms of nap timing, sleep training technique, overnight feed plan. But if your baby is genuinely hungry, it's a moot point, and it's going to equal a lot of tears, a lot of pressure, and it's going to feel very unsustainable. So whilst you can absolutely start to manipulate the rhythm and routine of the day and have a set wake up time and aim for wake windows and the sleep environment, if the calories aren't in place, it's going to be, it may feel unproductive. So first and foremost, I would be saying, is there a root cause of why these milk feeds are a struggle? Is it something that we need to outsource to a GP, pediatrician, speech pathologist, lactation consultant, in terms of something systemic or pathological is creating this issue? Is it as simple as we need a faster flow on the bottle? And this is so common.
Yeah.
So
Time.
common. All the time, that babies, particularly at 6 months, they want to be efficient eaters. And they get bored and frustrated, and they are social and easily engaged and can find anything else other than finishing that bottle to do if it's not coming fast enough.
Yep.
It also makes me think, is there a undiagnosed tongue tie or oral restriction? So yes, you can work on sleep routines, but my first thought is we need to figure out why the milk feeds are a struggle and how to resolve that.
A lot of the how we know what we need to refer on to is by looking at your logs. So when we do consultations with families, you will often be asked to do, well, most of the time you're asked to submit a 24 to 48 hour log.
Yep.
And that details to us, when your milk feeds are, if they're both boobs, one boob, 140 mils, 200 mils, we ask what size teat you're using and what type of milk bottle you're using, along with the formula. All of these give us really good clues in terms of, and along with sort of seeing when your naps are happening, how they're being settled. All of that information that you provide to us allows us the opportunity to interpret exactly what's happening. And while you're medically trained, Sally, I'm not. But I've seen this for many, 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 many years. We can get a really clear picture of potential underlying reasons for why those feeds may not be the best, or a bit of a struggle or a bit of a challenge. And, when we can sort of see those red flags sort of pop up, then we'll always refer on to the appropriate people that can assist. But a lot of the time, the issues are stemming from simple things like not a fast enough flow teat, or potentially just needing a bigger gap between the milk
feeding
feeds.
too frequently.
Yeah, feeding too frequently, or it could be that solids have been put in a haphazard sort of way through the day, and that's impacting milk feed. So there's many causes for finding that there are feeding issues, not necessarily all medically related.
No, not at all. And I think that's where it can be a bit confusing for parents to figure out, is there something wrong, or is it just a routine and a simple tweak thing? The other thing that both Beck and I will always look at is that we always ask for baby's birth weight.
Yes.
And even at 6 months, we want to know what their current weight is. And I have bookmarked, I have in my browser, the WHO, I like to plot it so that I can see, because I can probably count on, there hasn't been too many babies that feeding issues haven't come down to timing, solids, all the things we were just talking about, the non-medical issues. But there have definitely been a few times where I can see that a baby has significantly dropped off of the percentiles in terms of weight, and they may have even worked with another sleep consultant, and it's literally like in the first 3 questions on my intake form, I think, hang on, before we can't, the rest, it doesn't matter. We need to resolve why this baby is not gaining.
Yeah.
And that's outside my scope. So I will actively tell the family, well, I'd at least follow up and say, hey, let's go, can you fill me in, catch me up to speed? And do you want to just put this on hold while we look to resolve this?
Yeah, there has been cases, and I've probably, in the 11 years that I've been doing this, I've probably had 4 cases that have come through where I've thought, holy moly, we've got a failure to thrive.
Yeah.
And interestingly, these little ones have been mum and dad have been taking their baby in consistently, and
advocating so
something
hard.
something is not quite right here. Something is, and and then it all sort of, if there is a failure to thrive scenario happening, it's not super common. I'll give you, like, it's not super. A lot of babies will drop their weight percentiles, like they'll drop in, like that's super normal for, say they were born on like the 75th percentile. It's quite common that they'll come to us on the 50th percentile, or 25th and whatnot. Like those little drops they're quite common and super normal, especially as they grow and they become more mobile and all the things. So that sort of thing is different to a failure to thrive, which is perhaps born in the 75th percentile and now they're tracking below the 5th. Like that's the type of scenario that I have seen, and it's
I
very,
can already
very
think
tricky.
of one that's jumping out in my head.
Yeah. And it's confronting to see, but if you've got everyone sort of on board, and this is like taking a little bit of a turn, isn't it, this conversation? But we have the data in front of us, so we've got these 2 days worth of logs, and again, I'm not medically trained, but I can see when the feeds are happening how much is being ingested. All these, whereas GPs and that, they don't ask for any of that kind of information, and you can kind of see, well, we need this cleared up. We need to find out why, the root cause. In the meantime, I wonder if we should shift some feeding elements, or maybe just move the teat from newborn to 6+ months, let's do these little tiny things just to see if that helps to
just
improve.
To see,
to see. But and we have successfully worked with those babies. Once they've had their challenges all sort of assessed and worked on, we have successfully completed sleep work with them.
And neither Beck nor I are ever too proud to say this is outside our scope.
Never.
I think you're
No,
best
this
to
is
go
your baby.
Best to go and see the pediatrician or a speech pathologist, or there could be an oral tie or heart-shaped tongues. I often get sent photos of heart-shaped tongues, and I think, that's a thing. So that was my yes and answer.
Oh, yes.
Can the 6 month, can you work on this? But the first place I would start is, again, let's do a schedule review. Where are your milk feeds placed? Because it could just be that you're feeding 2 hourly and then baby's not interested, so it feels like, and then because we are mothers that want to meet our baby's needs so beautifully, we want to top up so that they get the calories, and you and I are often redistributing. We're not dropping, we are redistributing calories and making space and appetite for these fuller, beautiful feeds. So that's where I would actually really like to see an intake form. I'm curious.
Same. I actually finished up with a client just before Christmas who was so lovely, so sweet, and wrote the most amazing review.
Aww.
And I was like, when you, this is going to sound so trite and like tooting our own horns. We really change, part of our work is changing lives for the better. It's for a lot of families, they are they're super depleted in every way. They're really, really struggling at some stage. This particular family had needed some help. It wasn't drastic help, but what had happened was mum had decided that she needed to start topping up with formula, and perhaps had some advice to start topping up because it appeared that she wasn't making enough milk because her baby appeared so hungry and needed so many more feeds overnight and so forth. And then so she started substituting breastfeeds with formula through the day. And when we started working together, I just assumed that she wanted to keep formula in the mix. So my question was, which feeds do you want to make formula feeds, and all the things. And she said, no, I really want to continue breastfeeding. I would prefer to not have to. I'm happy to give top-ups, but I would prefer not to. Anyway, at the end of the 2 weeks together, her review wrote along the lines of, you saved our breastfeeding journey, and we got the feeds back on track, and everything was hunky-dory. It was all fine, and it was just shaping. It was shaping the day.
Done. Yeah.
And those are those moments where you're like, it's not always just about sleep. It's not always about techniques and whatnot. It can be so many other factors for these mums and their journeys into parenthood.
I think that's such a beautiful comment for them to make, because there's also, like, I see in, the trolling comments on my social media all the time of when I talk about maybe moving to space feeding, or that breastfed babies can sleep just as well as formula fed babies and vice versa, that now watch this mother's supply tank based on the advice you've just given. And I have just never experienced that, and this is case in point of how you have actually, quote unquote, like, saved their breastfeeding relationship whilst also saving their sleep.
Yeah.
And they do not have to be mutually exclusive. Great supply or great feeds and great sleep.
Yeah. And as it turned out, it was really this baby's, it was just tweaking the feeds. And then they started sleeping longer and longer overnight. There was very little sleep work actually involved. So, yeah, anyway, that was, a long answer to a question.
No, I love that, because that's so important for families to hear that. And also that we are not just like rodeo clowns having a go with baby sleep. Like, that we're not just out here saying, you do Furba, and we'll see you at 7 a.m. There is just so much more nuance to the way that we do this and the support that we give. I loved that story. Well done, Beck.
Ah, thanks, mate.
Shall we do one or two more?
Yeah.
Did I do? Yeah, I did that one. You go. I got so lost in your story that I didn't know whose turn it was.
Oh, yes. What's that long-winded way I have of telling a story? Okay. Persistent 4 a.m. rise, 7-month-old, following your schedule, on day 6 of pushing through to 9 a.m. So just to recap, I've got a 7-month-old, not my particular client, but she is following, I'm suspecting, from one of the routines that we've put out on Nap Trapped. 7-month-old baby, structuring the first, or anchoring the first nap at 9 a.m, but still getting a persistent 4 a.m. rise.
This could be a whole podcast episode in and of itself.
There's a checklist. There's a checklist. Yeah. Yep. So I'd want to know when the feeds were happening overnight. Yep. Firstly.
And you and I are not bothered by feeds at 7 months old.
No, especially if you're doing sleep work, you're sort of moving from 2 feeds to 1 feed, then pushing it out. So 4 a.m. could potentially actually be a genuine hunger-related waking, so unsure what's happening there. Yeah. You?
My next thought is, what is the room temperature and what is baby wearing, knowing that is often the chilliest part of the night. Even if you've got a temperature controlled room, systemically we all drop a couple of degrees, and you and I are constantly warming babies up, not heating them. We're just adding on a singlet or a short sleeve onesie, if you're not in Australia and wondering what that is. Or we're moving from a 1 tog in an air conditioned room to a 2.5 tog with 2 layers on underneath. So that would be my next question, because 4 a.m. can be chilly.
My next question would be, what's your response at 4 a.m? Because it's really important that we treat that as a night waking. It's almost too early for the early rise protocol as well. Like, this is actually
4 a.m.
a night
is the
waking.
middle of, that's the middle of the night for me.
So it could be a case that potentially you're adding a lot into the mix to get your little one off to sleep, and maybe they just need a different type of technique, something a little bit more low stimulation. I mean, it could be a multitude of different things, but I'd want to know what your response is, and if we could potentially tweak that a little bit just to sort of optimize their ability to move past what seems to be becoming a habitual wake.
Yeah. My next thought is, and this isn't going to be the deal maker or breaker, because my guess is there's a feed thing that we need to recalibrate either throughout the day, well, no, probably day and night, and then you'll be able to confidently resettle that waking if it's not a feed. But I would move that first nap from 9 till 9:30.
Oh, yeah, great point. Yep.
And if we have resettled until 7, I can think of one baby, and it was only in the first morning of sleep work, that woke at 4:16 and did not go back to sleep despite us doing our early rise protocol. And we did do a bridging nap at 7 or 6:45 with the feed, and then we were on the up to get on the schedule, and it was only a one morning wonder. So I would need baby, as all that to say, it's very rare for a baby to wake in the 4s and you to treat it like an overnight waking, and that they don't go back to sleep, even if it's like at 6:26, and then we're waking them at 7. I'll take it. I will take that as a win.
Yeah.
It's different if it's a 5:30, it's anybody's guess if a baby will go back to sleep in the first few mornings of that. But 4 a.m., as you said, like, it's the middle of the night. Sleep pressure is still there. We've got a long time to commit to going back to sleep. So anchoring in the 9:30 so that we don't accidentally reinforce a slightly earlier wake. Will baby be overtired? Yes. Can you fully assist nap 1 so that they don't have to self-settle and work for it? Absolutely, yes.
This is actually like a really great option for, if you're still finding that there is a bit of struggle street happening, then this is totally one of those reasons to jump on and maybe book a 60-minute chat with us, like just a really quick consult or whatnot, just to sort of see if we can iron it out for you, because it's, from our end, we feel like it's easily fixed. Like, there's
I was going to say, it's going to
need to
be some tweaks. The knowledge will already be there. It's probably not even a sleep training thing. Maybe we need a little bit of sleep training just in case the early rise has been reinforced in any kind of way, but that's the icing on the cake. There'll be something else or a little combo, and once we tweak that, you're home and hosed. See you at 6:30.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more, and then I'll save the rest for the next episode. What age to move dinner from 5 p.m. till 5:30? Is there a certain amount of time for food before bed?
Oh gosh, I'm an absolute stickler with a 5 o'clock dinner. Like, unless bedtime is a little bit later and it's 7:30, dinner for me always starts 2 hours before bedtime. So, yeah.
The scenario might be that if they've been following one of our schedules, and let's say we've done a 5 till 5:30 nap 3 at 8 months or at 7 months, and then we're saying dinner at 5:30. And then into
bedtime
bed at 7:30. So it would be probably when we've dropped that third nap, that's when dinner will go back in to become a 5 p.m.
Yeah. And I think the question at the end was, is there a minimum gap? Which is
time. Yes.
Certain. Yeah. So my bedtime routine always starts 2 hours before bedtime. So if bedtime is 7:30, dinner starts at 5:30. That's your sequencing to bed. If bedtime is 7, then dinner starts at 5. If bedtime is 6:30 because you've had to pull everything earlier, then dinner time is 4:30. So because you still want exactly the same sequencing to happen, because if you've listened to our bedtime routine episode on Nap Trapped, then you'll probably hear all the reasons why there is a method to the madness and why we have dinner at certain times and then our rough and tumble at certain times and then the bath. There is a method to the madness, like we always say, and it'll be made super clear there. Yeah.
Yes. No. Great.
I still love a 5 o'clock dinner.
I have a 5 o'clock dinner myself. My sister and I will message each other, like sometimes even at like 4:30, being like, too early.
My kids still
never too early.
My husband would love a later dinner. I think he would love a 7:30, lots of red wine and but I'm I'm in my PJs. I'm ready for as soon as the dinner is cooked and I've washed up, straight to the shower because I don't want any cooking smells on me. I don't know. sound like really
Plus, you
OCD.
get up really early for the gym, so you're on an
True,
early
I
to
do.
bed, early to rise kind of schedule.
That's right. And that does not support lots of red wine with a dinner at 7:30. So it's
No,
out.
it does not. If anyone has noticed, if anyone's watching, because we now know that you're watching us on Spotify, if I'm looking off, I am watching a little unconscious 9-week-old golden retriever puppy who is totally asleep through all of this, upside down, and I was just watching her. So
Tell
anyway,
all the
you notice I
listeners
was
the
getting
boy
to-
puppy's name. It's so beautiful.
So we got a puppy, a golden retriever puppy for Christmas. We picked her up a few days after Christmas, named Biscotti. And she
it's just so
is
beautiful.
heaven. Yeah, she responds. She definitely knows her name. She's a clever girl, gifted, some may say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we call her Scotty, and sometimes even just where's the biscuit? Or which bed is the biscuit in? Or pass the biscuit.
Oh,
And
that's
she's
very
been
cute.
heaven. She's actually been easier than any of my children over the school holidays.
Oh, isn't that
Can I
funny?
say that?
Isn't it? Yeah. And actually, I wanted to just jump in and add in, because when you said Scotty, you normally call her Scotty, and it just made me think of Tanya Hennessy, who's just had her baby, and she
Yes!
called her little daughter Scotty, and I just am in love with it. It is the most beautiful girl's name. Oh,
It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Tanya, if you need baby sleep help, we have got you and Scotty covered.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. Actually, that sounded like a plug, and it totally wasn't. It was
No,
yeah.
my genuine
But-
excitement.
Yeah.
I often don't know who people are, but I absolutely know, and I had
Yes,
loved
I think we've
that
all
name
followed
as
that
well.
journey for a long time.
Yeah, I'm
And,
so happy for her.
Yeah, so amazing, so amazing. Yay,
I will
congratulations,
say,
Tanya.
yes, and I promise I didn't copy full name Biscotti on the birth certificate.
Oh, I think
Nickname
you
Scotty.
definitely heard Biscotti first.
You did,
Well,
yes.
I think Tanya copied you. She must have seen your post.
Inspired by the biscuit. All right. Well, we are so happy to be back in your ears. Rabbiting on as per usual. Thank you for listening if you have made it this far. We are going to log off, and Becca, I will see you in about 2 minutes because we're going to record the next
we'll
episode.
jump back on. Excellent.
Yep.
See
All
you,
right.
team.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
great
Bye.
week. Bye.
If this episode helped, there's a lot more where that came from. We've built a library of episodes covering every sleep stage and challenge, from day 1 through to the toddler years. Visit naptrappedpodcast.com to search by your baby's age or the specific issue you're tackling. Subscribe so you've got weekly support as things change. And remember, you don't need to figure this out all at once. One episode, one strategy, one night at a time.